Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to or back to my channel, Self Love Lexi. Today I'm going to be getting into my journey with psilocybin and just a wellness retreat in general. So, me and my family had went to a wellness retreat for 4 days in the middle of Mexico. And we did not eat any meat, any processed sugar, any sugar in general. We were limited with social media, and we spent that time really integrating in ourselves and using plant medicine like psilocybin. If you guys are not quite sure what psilocybin is magic mushrooms. I used to use magic mushrooms unintentionally just to have fun with my friends. Now I will only ever use plant medicine, including marijuana, in such a ritualistic, connective way. There's so many things to say about what I had learned on this retreat. I could go on for hours and hours and hours. I'm going to try to keep it short and simple and hit the points that I need to. First, let's start it off easy. How was my journey with being vegan for 4 days? If you know me, you know I love meat. I genuinely have meat in every single meal, and I eat the 3 meals a day. It was very interesting, and I actually felt super energized. Still, I wasn't as drained as I thought I was going to be. I really did feel super energized. I felt healthy. I felt connected and grounded. We were eating really healing plant foods coming from the earth, and it was beautiful, and it really showed me that a lot of the times that we just love to eat as humans, and it's not supposed to be like this. We eat way too much. We don't need to eat as much as we do eat. And I think this has been like an overconsumption, a part of overconsumption. People have fasted. People I know personally have fasted for 40 days, beyond 40 days. What we have been taught is a lie about food. We are eating so much food to numb ourselves and numb our emotions, but our emotions are beautiful, and they all should be embraced. The happy, the sad, the joy. Emotions are the reason why we're here. Without emotion, we would not be human. Emotion is what makes us human. So all in all, being vegan for 4 days, it really to me felt like nothing. I thought it was going to be a bit more dramatic because I do eat meat all the time, but it was a beautiful experience. I don't think I would go vegan right now. I'm not feeling called to that in life. But eventually, I have some awesome recipes that they had shared. The food was pretty good. So, yeah, that's the first thing. The second thing I'm going to talk about is limiting social media. So while we were there were very clear instructions to use social media as limited as possible. For me, this wasn't a huge deal because I had gone 3 months during my second year of university without any social media. So it really wasn't bad. When that happens, you spend a lot of time with yourself, connecting, learning yourself, feeling the feelings that you need to feel. So that's what it was. It was really just a time for me to journal my thoughts out and feel what I was feeling, and the grief and the sadness and the repressed emotions were finally able to release because I wasn't going on social media or doing things like eating to suppress those emotions. So those emotions really arose, and I was guided by beautiful people to help me heal that and help me release those emotions. If you are thinking of cutting out of social media, please do it, even if it's for a 24-hour detox, right? 3-day fast of social media. Do something because you will notice a difference. Ow! I think it's so funny. I learned recently that, especially with the eldest daughters, we love to suppress emotion, including pain. So, whenever I used to stub my foot, I used to be like,
Oh my God, what the fuck?
I would hold it in, and I learned that that's really, really, really not good for your feelings and your emotions and your nervous system. So now every time I have to remind myself that it's okay and that to release the pain. And so every time I stub my toe, I start with holding it in. and then it's like a delayed reaction of pain. So that's just what happened over there. I had time to connect with my higher self. When people ask me what is my higher self, it's hard to explain because a lot of people look at it, oh, like the better version of me. For me, my higher self is the all-knowing, the all-loving, all connecting. It's it's kind of super high consciousness. And I don't look at my higher self as a man or a female. It kind of, I say her just because I'm a female personally, but the way my higher self represents to me is a mix of both. Because duality is everything, gender is everything. If you guys know the hermetic law of gender, gender is in everything. We need masculine and we need feminine in everything. That's how I look at my higher self, but I learned that we use things like food, social media, caffeine, nicotine, marijuana, drugs, alcohol. I learned a lot in how we love to suppress a lot with that. Even the fact that we need to be productive, right? We have this feeling that we need to be productive. That is sold to us. That idea of productivity is sold to us. And in this moment when I was in that journey, the name programmed productive pandemic came to me because I had this realization that in life I was always go 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 go, and I was kind of forced in this journey to sit and to relax and to integrate and to feel. And I had never been in a position where I had days on end to just feel what I was suppressing. And it was a lot of emotions, but it was beautiful. It was a beautiful experience. And that's when I came up with that name. And I realized that a lot of us, specifically and especially females, are pushed to the edge with this programming of, oh, go go go, do program productive pandemic. But in reality, when our natural state for females specifically is rest and receive, again, we all need masculine and feminine traits, but our natural state is to rest and to receive. And so I was receiving the downloads of, I was receiving the clarity of my highest good and my next steps and what I want to do in life and what I'm here for. So it was beautiful. I also learned how much family had meant to me. And I was just in this period of so much gratitude. If you guys don't know, I write down what I'm grateful for every single day, and I have for about a year or so. But this feeling of gratitude was so intense. My whole family, we were crying together, we were hugging, we just felt so loved and connected. And I felt so connected to myself in a way that I have never experienced before. I was so connected to the world that automatically I felt so connected to myself. I felt so connected to nature that I was connected to myself because I am nature. I am water. I am the trees. I am the wind. I am the grass. I am the ground. I am all of those things. And it was just like a really, really deep bond with the earth or Mother Gaia or Mother Nature, if you will. It was just such a beautiful connection to the divine feminine within me. It was just such a beautiful experience to really feel supported and connected by my family, by my soul tribe, and by Mother Earth. Yeah, it was a really deep connection. My intention going into the psilocybin retreat, so there was just a lot of time to rest and receive. Now let's talk about the psilocybin portion of this. So I went into this journey with the intention of healing my father and mother wounds. And I think throughout that whole experience, that was what was happening. You know, I felt supported by Mother Gaia. I was feeling the feelings that I was taught to suppress. There was so many things going on, and my therapist is such a beautiful, motherly goddess figure, and her son was such a healthy, masculine man. and I felt so safe. If you know me, you know I have had a horrible experience with men in the past. So safe with him. And I told him this. I've never felt that safe with a man in my whole life. And I'm not exaggerating. In my whole life. And so that really just proved to me that there are healthy men out there. There are healthy masculine men out there who are containers for you and who are honest and supporting and supportive and loving and genuine. I felt like he was my brother, and I don't have a brother, but if I had a brother, I that was what the feeling was like. Like a really good safety net brother. So that whole experience with a healthy masculine man rose my standards. I will never ever be in a relationship if I don't feel that safe or safer with a man. Let's talk psilocybin. Probably why you've watched this video. I went into this journey with the intention of healing my feminine and masculine wounds. And throughout this whole journey, that was happening. That was happening simultaneously. So when I really integrated in the psilocybin, I was with my family. We were all laying on mats, and we had a face mask covering our eyes so we could fully integrate. I was in journey for 8 hours. I didn't move. I got up to use the bathroom one time. I didn't eat. I didn't do anything for 8 full hours. And it started off with very ceremonial. We set the intentions, we measured the grams. The day before, we were instructed to keep the psilocybin with us, and we were told stories about it. And we now know that mushrooms are one of the oldest species on earth. Oldest. They were the first things actually on this planet. So with that being said, they are very wisdomic beings, and I don't look at mushrooms anymore as things. I look at them as beings, because everything is a being. So very ceremonial. We set our intentions. We picked out the number of grams we wanted to have, and we put it in this bag, which we were instructed to carry around with us and hold it to our heart, talk to the mushrooms, and with the awareness that the mushrooms were gonna do exactly what they needed to do. And a mantra that we were given was, "I took the medicine, and the medicine is working." And I'll get into it more, but throughout my journey, this really helped me. So finally, we're all sitting there, face masks on, and ceremonial music is playing, and I just start drinking my mug, and I start consuming a little bit of the psilocybin, but I really don't like the taste of it. I don't like the taste. I don't like the texture. It's just not good. So I was just drinking all of it. I had 4.5 grams, which is almost a hero dose, but it was pure Mexican grown mushrooms. After drinking this, I'm getting in my head a little bit. I was like, oh my goodness, I didn't even chew them all. Nothing's probably gonna happen. And then I said the mantra, "I took the medicine, and the medicine is working." And all of a sudden, the speaker started playing a song from my Hype Up playlist. Like, I have this song in my Hype Up playlist, which was so funny. After the fact, my mentors came to us, and they were like, we had on cue a bunch of ceremonial music. There was no need for that song, random song, to pop up. And so immediately I knew that my spirit guides, when it happened, I knew that my spirit guides were like effing with the music to to bring us laughter. And when the music started changing and playing, that's when all of us just broke out into laughter. That is when the journey started. It did not feel like 8 hours. It felt like maybe 2-3 hours. I can remember laughing a lot. I remember healing and crying, releasing emotion, and being really in my body. At one point, I had went to use the restroom, and I was just so grateful, and I was so in the present moment. I was so there. And I remember my therapist walking me to the washroom, and I just looked at her, and she was just like a shaman. She was a goddess. She was my mom in a spiritual cosmic realm, and I was so grateful for that moment. I was so grateful to see her there, and I felt so supported and loved. And then after the restroom, I sat back down, and hours later, I might have fell asleep or something because I'm not too sure how it lasted 8 hours. But I remember having this feeling of nothing matters. And I definitely traveled dimensions. I was in like the eighth dimension because in this 3D reality, everything matters. Everything matters. But where I was, nothing mattered. Nothing. It didn't matter what I did. It was almost just like this clarity and this warmth knowing that it's okay. In the best way possible, that it's okay to just be. And that was a beautiful feeling. And it almost was like an overwhelming feeling of nothing matters, tied with love, but also a little bit anxiety, like nothing matters. Imagine just nothing even matters. It was just a weird feeling. The next thing I remember was my mom getting up, and they said something along the lines of, "Oh, we're just waiting." And I felt horrible. I felt so bad because I was like, "Oh my gosh, they're not going to eat. They have to wait for me to eat." And I got this feeling of like I want to get up. I need to get up, but my soul knew that it wasn't time yet. It wasn't time for me to get up. And then one of the mentors came up to me and he just started singing. And this to me allowed me to just be, because it showed me that no, people are still there for me. People are still here. Even though my parents are up, I was still able to just sit there in it, and I was still on my journey. And then a couple hours go by. My therapist and her son are chanting. They have traveled dimensions with me at this point, and I was initiated. If you guys know, I'm not going to get too much into this detail, but if you know what I'm talking about, you know. I was initiated in the spiritual realm, and I was meditating until my legs went numb twice. The first time I opened up my legs and I let them like move, I let them feel, and then I went right back into the position of just meditation. There's so many mudras and positions for meditation, but I just did like the crisscross applesauce, hands in this position up, and there was like, oh, there's so many things, so many beautiful things that happened. But I remember opening my eyes and looking at one of my mentors and being like, I remember you from a different universe. I remember you. Like, we go back. This is, yeah. And so when I say we had traveled dimensions, I mean it. We literally had traveled dimensions all together, the three of us. And it was a moment of realization that we have known each other for a very long time before this lifetime. And it was just this divine connection of love, and it felt like home to me. It felt like family. And I remember telling them I'm remembering. And they knew what was happening. They could feel my energy. And my therapist came up to me and she put her hand on my heart. And all of a sudden, it was like my spirit shot back up. Because for a moment, I was opening my eyes, I'm back in the 3D, and I'm looking at them like I'm remembering. I'm remembering. And then she did this, and it's like my spirit shot back up. And again, I was in a different dimension. And that's when I went into the meditative state. But I just kept crying and crying, and they were chanting and circling around me, and they were whispering things in my ears that resonated with like the codes in my spine. My true essence, my highest self was speaking to me through them. And oh my gosh, just a lot. A lot came up. I remember having this moment too of such gratitude for the people in my life, even the people who have done me wrong and hurt me or I've done wrong. I just had so much immense gratitude for past friendships, exes, all of that. But yeah, when I finally woke back up, my therapist was like, "Welcome home." And without even thinking, I was like, "This isn't home." Again, we just had traveled multiple dimensions together. It was a beautiful experience, and I recommend it to anyone who's really wanting to learn about themselves and come home to themselves again. Thank you guys for watching this video. I know this was definitely an interesting one. I can't wait to get more experiences like this and share more of my stories and my insights on things like this. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it. Mwah.